Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Skill RPA. And in this series, we already seen like how we can set up the repositories and also the models in the previous video. And in this video, we will try to build an integration between the Azure DevOps work items to UiPath Test Manager requirements and also from UiPath Test Manager requirements to Azure DevOps. And so we have already created a model for Test Manager and Azure DevOps. Now we will start building the collection. So in order to build the collection, we need to click on the collections, and here we need to click on new collection to add it. And now we are dealing with work item collections, and we have a container collection as well. When we are dealing with the test sets where it is a combined of multiple test cases, combination of multiple artifacts, right? So in that case, we go with the container collection, and we will see that when we are creating for the test sets. But now we will go with the work items collection, and we'll select the work item collection, and here we need to give the name. So I will give test manager collection, requirements, and we need to select the repository UiPath Test Manager. And here the good thing is, like, when we are building the collection of work items, we can select multiple projects, and I'll be selecting only one project as of now, and we'll be considering that and click on done. So now I have taken the project, and now we need to select what artifact you want to synchronize. And in this case, I want to go with the requirements. And here in the model, I'll be selecting whatever the newly we created TM-ADO model, we will be selecting that model. Now, the synchronization will happen between the requirements and this model in terms of mapping. So once we click on save, we will get this map fields option. So once we click on map fields, it will automatically map a couple of items which are like based on the smart field values. And in case if anything additional we want to have, we can add it. And in terms of name to summary, description to description, these are good enough in terms of like flowing of my requirements. But there will be some issue when we deal with flowing from UiPath Test Manager to the Azure DevOps. So that we will see beforehand. We will create these collections and we will modify it when we face the issue. So click on done. And my repository collection is created for the test manager. Now I want to create a new collection for the Azure DevOps and work items collection, and I'll say Azure DevOps work items, and select the name Azure DevOps repository, and I'll select the project. We can have multiple projects for the same collection, and we need to select the work item. So here the work items, we will be selecting Epic. So make sure that, like, in case if we go to the Azure DevOps under the work items, we have multiple options to create a work item, Epic, issue, task. Make sure that like you are selecting only one item, not multiple. In case if you are selecting multiple, there might be a possibility of going to the requirements and creating a duplication. So to avoid that, always make sure that like you are creating only one item. And here I selected the Epic, and the model, I should select the same model, whatever I selected for the test manager. So the integration or synchronization or flow of the data between one item to the other item properties will be routed through the model. So only if both are the same model, then only our integration will work. Click on save, and I'll click on map fields. And here title, summary, description, and so there are some additional paths also which we received. So we'll keep it as it is as of now and click on done. Click on done. So now we created collections for the work items to flow from test manager to Azure DevOps and the Azure DevOps to the test manager. Now we need to build the integration between these two collections. So we'll go to the integration and we will click on new integration. And it is a work items synchronization. So we'll select the work items synchronization, and we will select the repository Azure DevOps, and here test manager. So we want to build the integration between these two, and we'll select the collection work items, and here it is requirements. So now we have selected properly, and now I'll give the name as work items integration. and click on save. Once it is saved, and you could able to see a highlight here. So we need to configure this routing in majority, like between these two projects. Like I want to synchronize this particular project to this particular project. If you remember, when we are creating a collections, it is giving option to select multiple projects. So when you select the multiple projects, we need to connect a specific project to the project. So that's how it works. Now both are selected, click on connect. And now this above integration is from test manager to the Azure DevOps, and this one is from DevOps to the test manager. In case if you delete one, then it will be only single directional, but I want to have a bi-directional, so I'll click on save, click on done. So now my integration setup is completed. So now I'll run this integration. So now my integration is running, and if I go to the settings, here interval is 1 minute I have kept, and the minimum is 1 minute. It will not accept less than 1 minute. So for every 1 minute, it will poll whether any new item is created or updated. So I'll come back, and this is my integration, and here I'll create a epic, because we map the epic to the requirements. So I'll be writing the name ADO2 Test Manager Test 1. The same I'll put it in the description also. Click on save. So I have saved my epic, and now this should reflect back into my requirements. So we will wait for a while in order to see that like how actually it is going on, and we can click on activity. So now once it is identified, it will move. So we will wait for a while in order for that to be coming into the flow, as it takes only 1 minute in order to do that. So we will see that. So pending item is 1, which means like it is identified, and it is trying to synchronize the activity from ADO to test manager. Okay, so this is the item ID, so artifact. So it is coming, and it detected few seconds ago, and it is will be processed as soon as possible. Let me refresh this page, and it is trying to synchronize the data. Let me refresh this. So we can prioritize this so that like it will be immediately start the processing. So in real time, we will not do in that way. It will automatically process as soon as it is available, but I am forcefully trying to process it, and it is got completed. If you see, the 64 becomes to 65. And if I come back to my test manager and refresh this page, I can see the requirement here. See, ADO to test manager. Now the epic which is created in my test manager could able to reflect back into this UiPath Test Manager. And let me see, let us try how the requirements will be synchronized back to Azure DevOps. So click on create requirement, Test Manager to DevOps, fail. I know that it is going to fail. So for that reason, I'm just giving the name as a fail. And let us go back here and wait for that to be detected. So it will take a while in order to get detected. And meanwhile, what I want to do is I will go to the project settings, and under the custom field definitions, I want to create some custom fields. One is area path, and I want this for the requirements and test case and test sets. Click on save. So we are defining some custom fields. Iteration path, requirements, test cases, and test sets. Click on save. So now I created these two, area path and iteration path, as a custom labels or custom field definitions, and we will see how it is going to help us. Okay, and now this is going to be failed. And if I come back to this, and if you see here, it has got failed, which means it could not able to transmit the value. The reason is in Azure DevOps, we will be having an iteration and areas. So if you see here I have an area path and the iteration path. So for this, we need to select these, and we need to put as part of our custom field definitions. And when you're working on the sprints, it will be changing. So you can have a new sprint created. So I'll just go here and I will create a new sprint. Here, new sprint, TM underscore sprint. So this is my test manager sprint, which I'm considering. So I'll be starting today and I'll be keeping it for 2 weeks. And I can say one, create. So I have created a new sprint, which is like all my test work items, which should be tested with the UiPath Test Manager. Okay. And now if I come back to the work items and I can go to a new work item and epic. Now I'll create an epic here in terms of title. I'll give ADO to TM sprint 2. I'm just giving the name and the same description I'll give here and click on save. And once it is saved, it will identify and it will start processing. I'll click on refresh this page, refresh. So it's now it will be processed as soon as it is ready. So I'm refreshing this page to see if I have something. So I want to cancel this because it's intentionally I have created that failure. And now we will wait for the new item to be detected and processed so that that item will go to the UiPath Test Manager. And I will show you what is the advantage of like having this custom field definitions. If I go here, if I go to the details, I can see this area path and iteration path. So we need to add these details also when it comes to the requirements when we are creating in the test manager, so that it will show to it will help to identify to which sprint it needs to fall. So, and let me refresh this page. I got the sprint 2. If I go to these details, if you see here, oops, I didn't got area path and iteration path. The reason is when I go to the collections in terms of UiPath Test Manager, I need to map those fields. So to map those fields, we can select it from here. So I can go here and select area path. So I need to refresh this collection. Go to the collection and done. Go here in terms of map fields, refresh the fields. Now we will get the area path and iterative path, which we defined there. So here is the area path and I want to add iteration path as well. And from the model also, I'll take area path, I'll take iteration path. And now click on connect. Oops, invalid mapping. So I'll just remove this. I'll select only area path from here, area path from here, and click on connect. So in this way we can map the fields. And when there is a blocker here, which means it is only single direction from where like key will go to the formatted ID and formatted ID will not go back to the key. Key is nothing but whatever the ID it is getting created, this ID. And now I need to have an iteration path as well. And I'll go for the iteration path here and click on connect. So now this is done. Click on save. So this is the only one additional thing what we need to do in order to flow our requirements from test manager to the Azure DevOps. And now what I will do is, this is a sprint 2 which I have added with custom fields, and click on save. And now we'll come back to this and we'll keep on refreshing this page in order to see the changes. And I'll go under here to the activities in terms of activity, whether it is detected or not. It was not yet detected. So I'll refresh this. Even not only the creation, even the updation also should reflect in terms of synchronization. So we'll refresh this page and we'll wait for some more time in order for that to get available. And I'll go back to the requirements. I'm refreshing this. So one is processing now, which is the new whatever we have updated now, sprint 2. It is executing. So let me go back to the activity, and it got failed. Okay, so because we have created newly for the custom fields, so the same is not getting updated. So let me do one thing. Let me go ahead and create a new work item here and create ADO to TM testing custom field definitions. Copy. I'm adding it as a description. Click on save. So we will wait for a while in order to get, and I'm canceling this because it is getting failed. And now let me refresh this. I have a processing, which is the new item which is got created, and it is under the process, and it is got completed. If I come back here, I will be having a new requirement created here in the UiPath Test Manager. And if I come here, go to the details. So now I could able to see this iteration path and area path. And now I want to create a requirement which will go and fall under the second sprint which we have created. So if I go to the sprints, and I can go to the TM underscore sprint. This is the sprint name. So how actually this looks when it comes to the area path. So if I go come here I can select this. So this is going to be my iteration path. So I'm just copying this, and I'll create a new requirement, create a requirement, test manager to DevOps, pass. So I'm just putting any description, right? So I'm just giving only the custom label. And now I'll go here and I'll go to the details, and here I'll give the iteration path and also area path to the name, which means now it will go and fall under this particular area path. So I don't want to save this. I just need to back to work items. I don't want to save this. And now whatever the requirement we created here, which is of 5 UTMI5, that should be reflected back into my work items. So we will go to the activity and refresh this page. It was not yet identified, so we will wait for a while in order for that to be get identified. So one is the pending item now. It got failed. So it's saying that like it is not a valid option. Okay, let us see why it is getting failed. We'll create a new work item here with test TM sprint, test TM sprint, and I'll change the iteration path to TM sprint and click on save. And now this will reflect back into my test manager. So I can see that what actually going wrong in this. If I come here and refresh this page, we'll wait for that to be identified. So this STM sprint is in progress and it is got completed. So all the both two are got completed, I guess. It's got successful in the retry item, which is the sixth one which we have created this, and it falls under this second sprint. Test manager to DevOps pass, and if you see here, it is in the second sprint. So whatever we have created it is falling under the sprint 2. And now we want to test the requirements by attaching the documents. Like here we have the documents tab, and also here under the epics we have an option to attach some document. So what we need to do in terms of that is we need to go to the integrations and go to the list and click on this work items integration, and here we have attachment flow. We'll go here and we will have a two-way match for the accepting of the attachment. So it's as of now no flow. We will select this and click on save. Click on done. Now what we will do is we will create a requirements here along by attaching a document. So create a requirement. So cancel, and I want to copy and keep the handy. These are the static values from sprint to sprint. It will be changing. So click on new requirement, document flow from TM to ADO. Document flow from TM to ADO. Click on create and go to the labels, details, and we'll give the sprint name, and also we'll give the area path. Now it's done. Now this should be reflecting here, right? But I want to have a document attached. So here I'll go here, add document, and I'll just select some document here, and I have added the document. Now we'll come here and we'll go to the activity, and we will see whether it is identified or not. It was not yet identified. So we'll just keep on refreshing this, and we'll wait for that to be available. So document flow received into the Azure DevOps. And if I go to the attachments, I can see one attachment is got attached. So this is how even we can synchronize the documents also, which are part of our requirements or the work items. Even the same thing will applicable even if we go with any of the work items. I'm going to create a new work item, and I'm going to create under Azure DevOps Test Manager and documents from ADO to TM. I'll attach one document here and click on save. So we have created one work item here, Epic here under the Azure DevOps, and we will wait for that to be synchronized with our UiPath Test Manager along with the document. And once it is done, what we will do is we will filter the items, which work items can be transformed from UiPath Test Manager to the DevOps and DevOps to the Test Manager. So you will be having a large team of testers where some people will be doing a manual testing, or some work items only you want to have specific work items only you want to be synchronized with UiPath Test Manager. So how we are going to handle that scenario? So we will look into that once this is document flow from ADO to TM is completed. So I'll refresh this. Documents from ADO to TM. If I go here and click on documents, so it's not reflecting. I have the attachment. So we will see it's completed processing. Let me refresh this. Here it is. So it could able to transfer the document as well. And now I want only the items which are created under the TM underscore sprint, right? So I'll go here, details. So this is the only iteration path where I want the items to be synchronized. So I can, so in order to, there will be a scenarios that like when you are working in a larger teams, you may need to sync only few items to the requirements from the Azure work items. So I will, how we can handle that scenario. So we'll go to the work items, and under this we'll have an artifact filtering. So we need to select whether it is for both creation and update. Yes. And I can go for project based statements, and I'll select the project, this particular project, click on done. And where my iteration path, we can have a condition on any of these. So where I have an iteration path equals to this particular item equal to this value, click on save. Done. And now I want to create one work item, Epic, not from TM sprint. Copy. So I'll change it to a different sprint and click on save. And I'll create one more work item under the same sprint. from TM sprint. Change the sprint to TM. Click on save. So I have created two work items now. One is not from the TM sprint and the other is from TM sprint. And I'll come here, go on done, and go to the activity and refresh this. So one is pending item, which is from TM sprint. So what I kept the condition is only if it is as part of this particular sprint, then only it should go. So iterative path, I kept condition based on the iteration path. And we can put condition on any of the filters in terms of created by or created time or whatever we have seen as part of our. So let me refresh and see the requirement here first. And I could able to get that sync without filter. Sorry, from TM sprint. This is the item which is created. And in case if you see here, not from TM sprint, we created beforehand, but that was not synchronized. So this is how we can have a filter condition applied on top of any of the conditions. In case if I go to the artifact filtering, and here I have multiple conditions I can say or and or whatever. So this is how the flow of work items or epic to requirement and requirement to epics follow. So hope you like the video. In the next video, we will work on the test cases and test sets. See you in the next video. Thank you.